Welcome back to Chin Music, our baseball show at TalkNorth.com. We're coming to you from the Aquarius Home Services Studios.
That first sip of coffee on a summer morning. Sunshine. Caffeine. What's better? How about water so good it makes your coffee jealous? Water from Aquarius, your authorized independent Connecticut dealer. Enjoy sparkling dishes, cloud-soft laundry, and worry-free water from every faucet. Likely for less than your daily iced coffee. Enjoy up to 25% off a new Connecticut system and schedule your free water analysis at AquariusHomeservices.com. Aquarius, earning the right to be recommended.
Hey, it's Mark Rosen with a reminder to tune into my weekly podcast, Rosen Sports Monday, every week on Talk North Sports.
We're also presented by Giggly THC Beverages and OnX Hunt. Tell you more about those companies and our other sponsors here in a bit. The lineup today, former Twin star Roy Smalley, Star Tribune columnist and baseball guru LaVelle Neal III, and myself, Jim Souhan from the Star Tribune and TalkNorth.com. Gentlemen, let's get right to it. And listen, at some point in this show, we will not only talk about music at the end, as we usually do with our Booze and Blues segment, we'll also offer whatever smidgens of hope we can. It's too early in the year. Just throw your hands up, say nothing's good's going to happen the rest of the year. But of course, we'll start with the dissection of their current problems. I'll start with what is most disappointing to me about this June swoon. And that is that right after Pablo and Zebby go on the injured list, Bailey Ober, Joe Ryan, and Chris Paddock go backwards instead of, as they say, stepping up and kind of taking the reins for the rotation. They have a million problems going on over there. That's what disappoints me the most. LaVelle, why don't you riff on that?
Yeah, I think it's an agreement. I mean, they're scratching their heads over there. Bailey's wondering if he's tipping his pitches. Ryan can't make a big pitch. It's not just them either. It's not just those guys. But you expect one of those guys to step up. Either Ober or Ryan at the top of that list. Paddock, not so sure. He was on a nice roll. Yesterday was a mixed bag. He got in trouble early. He was able to stabilize and throw a couple scoreless innings, but the damage already been done. But the one thing that jumps out to me, in addition to someone not taking the mantle of being the staff ace, is that the bullpen's all messed up. Rocco is not using Jackson Nathan in like he normally does. He's got other people. The roles have been mixed around. The Twins fight their asses off yesterday to come back and tie the game at 5-5. Durant comes in the game. All of a sudden, he's starting to splink people in the toes with pitches, loads the bases, and things go haywire. It's not just like one leak in this dam. And they're using Rocco and Pete Mackey are using all their fingers and toes trying to plug all these leaks, and it's just not clicking right now. So it's not just a starting rotation. The bullpen has also been a little shaky. So I don't know. I don't know what's going on. Mackey spoke with the media yesterday. Tried to sounded reasonable about it, saying that, is it execution? Is it the process? Which one is it? They're trying to search for answers. And, I just gotta believe that they're going to turn it around. I think the pitch staff we saw in April, May, is more towards what they really are than what they've shown in June.
I think that's probably right. I hope that it's right. The bullpen has been, was rocky to start the season, righted itself, and was kind of the lights out that we expected. And then it started. For me, it kind of started with Cole Sands, and he started to have a little trouble. Not anywhere near how dominant he was. He came in last year when he came in the game. I mean, the inning was just over, and he was just punishing people. And he's not, he's been inconsistent punishing, this year, and that kind of started things. Not that he was a catalyst. I just mean that the bullpen is kind of has become vulnerable, and I really didn't expect that after the. You can go through streaks, and maybe this is a streak as well. The streak early in the season, they righted it. I thought, okay, now they're gonna click right along through the year, and things are looking really tentative in the bullpen. I think that Joe Ryan will right himself. I'm not sure about Bailey Ober. That's been such a turnaround. I can understand why he thinks he might be tipping his pitches because he's not anywhere near, what he has been the last couple of years here so far this year. So I mean, we knew it was going to be a blow to lose Pablo. And we knew, as you suggest, Jim, that other guys were going to have to step up, and there really hasn't been that step up. So again, I think the starters are good enough to get them to the bullpen. If the bullpen is going to be locked down like I thought it would be, if it's not, then it's a rocky pitching staff, and we really get back to what for me has been kind of the concern. And I'm a broken record, scratching here again, but the offense is not good enough, and on a consistent basis, and I've been concerned about that. Brooks Lee has been a real positive, and Buck, of course, is having a good year. Correa's come on a little bit, but for the most part, the lineup, 1 through 9, you have to be able to, to score 8 runs every once in a while, and, win some of those games, and that's not happening so much.
LaVelle, give us an injury update. They could certainly use Zebby Matthews, at least the good version of the Zebby Matthews. Luke Keeschel might be the best hitter in the organization, and of course, Royce Lewis is on the injured list again. Where do they all stand?
Everybody's trending positively right now. Zebby Matthews began a throwing program this week. That means he has not thrown a bullpen yet, but he's thrown off flat ground for now. But it's a start. It's a start of the wheel could start turning now. To a date where, Zebby could possibly return. And like I said, whenever you have a pitcher that has a shoulder or arm thing, even if they declare it's minor, it's usually a month, a couple weeks for it to calm down and get treatment or rehab, and then you ramp up. And usually it's a month before you come back. And Zebby's right in that mode. Luke Keeschel is starting to do some baseball activities as well. So, that's a positive side for him. Maybe sometime in the next month that we're going to have Keeschel return and see if he can jump in the lineup and contribute. He looked like their best hitter when he was here, before, he suffered a fortunate, broken forearm. I think he either has had, or like yesterday, or is going to have today, another x-ray to make sure that the bone is healing properly, before they have him ramp up even more. But, there was a sighting him. Well, Royce Lewis has been smiling and laughing, in the clubhouse this week. So, he's feeling better with his hamstring. So he's going to slowly start doing some things here too. So, there's a light at the end of the tunnel. It's not a bright light. It may be somewhat dim, but it's better than nothing, as these guys are starting to put themselves on a track on returning to action.
Roy, what kind of an impact do you think? I think it's completely unfair for us to expect Luke Keeschel to come back and fix things, but just the way he swings the bat, the way he takes the bats, to me, he might be one of the keys to them turning this thing around. Is that ridiculous?
I don't think it's ridiculous. I think it would be a lot to ask of a young player. What would turn them around? We saw Royce Lewis, turn them around with some of his exploits last year, and as we're seeing now, it's probably unfair to think of to look to young players to say, oh, finally we got our guy that's going to hit third and lead us out of the wilderness. I'm looking forward to Keeschel coming back and continuing to demonstrate that swing, those mechanics, that approach, his maturity in the batter's box, and that all of that's real. And if it is real, and I kind of think it is, then that's another offensive data point that's going to be good. I don't look to Luke Keeschel to carry the club, but they need everybody. With the Twins lineup, it takes a village, and that's a really positive villager that they ought to get. They'd like to get back in the lineup. And I'm just looking forward to the energy that he brings to a ball game. He just looks like a big league player. He plays like a big league player. He's aggressive. He's exciting. He hits and runs, and all those things. And so he'll be a great addition. Whether or not it's not ridiculous to think that things will start clicking. I mean, something as easy as simple as a young guy providing a spark, is certainly possible. I think it's bordering on ridiculous, if not at least unfair, to think that he's going to come in here and hit third and carry the club.
Yeah, I'm just dreaming, but sometimes dreams come true. We'll see.
Well, a couple years ago, Royce Lewis had a heck of an impact on this team when he was Mr. Grand Slam. So they could get a jolt definitely from Keisha, I think.
All right,
right, but that's what I'm saying, LaVelle. It's that's the kind of, for any one player, to deliver the jolt. It's got to be something like what Royce did, and as we've seen, I mean, Royce will probably live to do that again. I mean, he's got that kind of talent. But as we've seen in young players, it's pretty special to have a jolt of that of that voltage, from a young guy.
Yes. All right. Let's get to Rocco, and let's get to everything else going on with the team, and eventually our Booze and Blues segment at the end. We'll talk about underrated bands, and sometimes somebody has an alcoholic recommendation. What I'm going to recommend right now is non-alcoholic. That's Giggly, giggly.com, Gigli.com. Use the promo code Giggly North to get a discount on your first order. Then if you just pay attention to Giggly on social media or go to giggly.com, you can find other deals. I recommend starting with their variety pack. They've got 4 cocktail flavors made of fruit juice. They're very healthy. It's low cost, especially if you use one of the promo codes, and they will deliver it to you wherever you live. This is vegan, gluten-free stuff with award-winning taste, crafted from real fruit juices. I love them. I just love drinking something that tastes like a cocktail, knowing I'm not going to be hungover or lethargic or tired the next day. Helps me sleep, helps me relax. They also are now selling edibles and chocolates, other things. Go to giggly.com to figure everything out. You can get all this stuff at every Quick Trip in Minnesota. But if you don't want to go to Quick Trip, or if your local grocery store or liquor store doesn't carry it, just go to giggly.com, order it. No alcohol, no hangover, just giggles. I also want to thank Aquarius Home Services. We're coming to you from the Aquarius Home Services studios, and want to tell you about Onyx Fish. The weather is warming up, and that means it's time to put your augers away and it's time to grab the boat. Let Onyx Fish help you find the next best bite. The Fish app offers the most comprehensive fishing tool for increasing your success. Use the Fish app to find new places to fish and sort lakes by species, abundance, trophy, and keeper potential. Onyx Fish also shows you hot spots, lake-by-lake regulations, and private and public land ownership information. Download Onyx Fish on the App Store or go to onyxmaps.com/fish to get more information about the app that is changing the game. All right, let's get to Rocco now. Dan Hayes from The Athletic reported that Rocco's option has been picked up for 2026. My first reaction was I was surprised by the timing. Then I thought about it. I thought, well, maybe with ownership change looming, with everybody in the organization knowing that they're kind of trying to perform for their jobs right now, maybe it's a sign of stability so the players don't feel like they're playing for a lame duck manager or regime. LaVelle, tell me what you know and what you think.
Yeah, I was really surprised. I just think I had no problems with the option being picked up. I don't think Rocco needs to be canned. And I do agree with the message that it sends to the clubhouse that there's going to be stability as far as that aspect of the organization is. Doing it in the middle of your worst month of the season just looked at me like it was like bad optics, man. And it just activated all the people who don't like Rocco into exploding over this. I'm sure it made a tough day for some of the members of the organization at the ballpark yesterday to try to explain to people, or just to come out and say, we can't comment on this. That added another layer to their days. I don't think Rocco deserves to be canned. I think this is a good sign. I didn't even know there was an option at the end of his contract. I mean, that's how quiet his deal is. He doesn't have an agent. So the fact whoever leaked this, it's interesting how this popped out because Rocco doesn't have representation. So it wasn't some agent looking for some publicity or whatever. So I'm for him. I'm for him staying. I'm for the move. I just wished he could have waited to when they were playing a little bit better so it would look better. But they have their reasons. We know that Derek Falvey is a big Rocco supporter, and I can't see Rocco leaving unless Falvey leaves as well. Even with Falvey becoming the team president, I just think that his fondness for Rocco is a bond that can't be broken.
Yeah, I'm actually not surprised, and just because of the ownership situation. If not now, when they were gonna pick up his option, whether they do it now or in July or August or September. I don't think they could wait for a hot streak. I mean, who knows? They could, it wouldn't get any better if they come out of the All-Star break and lose 12 in a row. So, I mean, I think they felt like for LaVelle's point, with Falvey there, he's gonna pick up the option. As far as ownership goes, you got to pick up you can't be in limbo, I don't think, right now about your manager. It's better in the clubhouse. So, I just don't think the timing was ever going to be perfect. Of course, if they come out of the All-Star break, for example, win 20 in a row, it's going to look like genius. Or if they had waited, for that serendipitous event, then they, looks great. Looks like he deserves it because they won 20 in a row. But none of that stuff really matters in a long baseball season. And in my mind, with ownership trying to sell and the president of the club wanting the manager anyway. I mean, I just don't think it's that big a surprise.
LaVelle, anything new on the ownership front? And if the answer is no, we can keep to one word and just move on.
Not really. There's still a belief that it's just like a couple interested parties that are kicking the tires, and I think when it goes on for this long, my perception is that the Twins haven't heard the number they wanted to hear, and it's maybe at a stalemate right now. So we'll just wait and see how this thing kind of grinds. We've got one ownership transaction in town, and A-Rod and Lori buying the Wolves. Waiting for the second one now.
Yep. All right. Let's ask the question: how does this get better? How do the Twins turn this around? They've already had one turnaround this season, but it was kind of miraculous given that Cody Clemens is their best position player in that stretch. Roy, what if you can pinpoint one thing that needs to happen? What would it be?
Well, I just don't have one thing.
Okay.
Everybody's got to play better. They have to. The Stars got to pitch better. The bullpen has to be more locked down, because that's really what I think going in what the strength of the pitching staff was thought to be, and the guys that they're counting on to swing the bats have got to swing it better than they have. I mean, Wallner's been was hurt, and now it's come back. He's not swinging the bat well. And you can go up and down the lineup and say, yeah, this guy's been okay. This guy's been not so good. This guy's been okay. But other than Buck and Correa now lately getting a lot of hits, coming up from a buck 90 to 260 or whatever it is. I mean, he's been getting, more hits, not a whole lot of power production yet, extra base hit production. So, they're really it just all feels lackluster. And I'm going to go back to what LaVelle and I have been saying. I think they need a bat. And I think that bat is in addition to Keishel, unless Keishel comes back and Royce Lewis comes back and they start absolutely tearing it up. Short of that, I think they need a bat.
LaVelle, any chance they actually trade for a bat?
There was a report last week that they were expressing interest in adding a left-handed hitting outfielder. So you can read into that all you want. Wallner is way overdue. I think he's got just 6 homers on the season, and he has not been the force that they need him to be. Larnach means well, but he's just kind of a guy, he's not a tremendously gifted defensive player. He's not tearing it up at the plate. So the Twins, this was a week ago, the Twins, obviously believe that that's an area that they can upgrade in. We have not seen the best of this lineup. Definitely have not. Like I said, Wallner's overdue. Brooks Lee's actually had a nice run here. He had the 19-game hitting streak, but his OPS is still like around 720. It's not like he's doing it with a lot of power, but I'll take a hit now every now and then. Anybody can get it, Correa's last 2 or 3 games have been promising. Let's see if he's on track as well. Could get a little more from France, a little bit more from Bader. Edouard Julien has now got his OPS up to 840, I believe, at St. Paul. I'm not sure just how mad they were at him when they sent him down, but could that be an option to give him a shot to see if he can be the guy they thought he was going to be a couple of years ago? I don't know. McCusker just hit his 15th homer for St. Paul, and Aaron Sabato is batting .333 in his first week. Of course, he probably needs a couple more weeks there before you would even think about him. And to be honest, I think Sabato was there as an emergency just in case something happens to France. So I'm still in the camp of Roy about adding the bat. But I will say 2 things. One, the Twins offense actually has been more of a top 10 offense this month. 2, this crap isn't going to matter unless they pitch better. It's not. It's you can win close games, and when you have your pitchers are pitching well and you can scratch enough runs, that's a formula you can win with. But when your offense is trying to keep up with your pitching staff, that is hard to do, man. They got to be better on the mound. That's the rotation and the bullpen.
Let's get to booze, blues, and final thoughts. First, I want to have you hear from Talk North star Michael Russo for Clamshell Beach Resorts.
Hey, have you been dreaming of a lake cabin lifestyle with boating, fishing, and family fun in northern Minnesota? Well, lately I've thought a lot about how cool it would be to have a getaway like so many Minnesotans. And if you're like me, you probably think that owning your own lakeside getaway is beyond your budget. Well, if you think lake cabin real estate prices keep going up, well, think again. This is Russo, and I'm here to tell you there is an affordable way to enjoy a cabin lifestyle and all that goes with it. And yes, I said affordable. I founded a Clamshell Beach Resort, which is located on the Whitefish chain of 14 lakes for you and your family to enjoy. Here's how. Clamshell has lake homes that offer deeded fractional ownership, and the keywords there are deeded and fractional. You own it. Imagine having 5 weeks a year to enjoy Clamshell with its beaches, pool, and lodge that's full of kids' activities. Is golf your game? There's a great golf course right across the road. Like winter sports? Well, you can go ice fishing, cross-country skiing, or snowmobiling right out the door at Clamshell. And there's no maintenance, no grass mowing, no snow removal. It's done all for you. And you can own a share of Clamshell Beach Resort at an affordable price. To learn more about ownership opportunities at Clamshell Beach Resort, go to cottagesonwhitefish.com or contact Pat Egan at 612-220-9819. That's cottagesonwhitefish.com or Pat Egan at 612-220-9819.
We're very gratified to be working with a great Minnesota company that does such great work, Minnesota Masonic Charities.
When people think of the Freemasons, they often think of secret handshakes and unusual hats, and of course, the pancake breakfast. Minnesota Masonic Charities would prefer that you think about the work that they do right here in our community. Places like the Masonic Cancer Center at the University of Minnesota or the Masonic Children's Hospital and the Masonic Home in Bloomington. They are just a few examples of the important work that the Freemasons support here in Minnesota. As part of the largest fraternal organization in the world, Masons have consistently answered the call when it comes to charitable needs. We look forward to learning so much more about their many programs here in the weeks to come.
And here's Talk North star John Krasinski for True Vision Institute.
True Vision Institute in Bloomington. I've been telling you about it for months now. Just a life-changing experience for me to go to True Vision and have LASIK surgery this summer. Everything is easier for me after having LASIK surgery. I don't have the hassles of contacts and eyeglasses. I don't have to worry about going in for annual appointments to get the eyes checked and also to make sure that I have the latest and greatest style of glasses and I'm not looking like some washed up 46-year-old like I am, trying to stay ahead of the trends. I don't have that anymore. I'm just going around free and clear without anything on my face, and that's all thanks to the good folks at True Vision. When you go into True Vision, you will immediately notice how welcoming, how warm, how friendly, and how knowledgeable the staff is there. They get you in, they get you checked out, they find the right vision correction options for you. And then Dr. Chu is just world class in how he helps you through the procedure, how he makes sure that he gets you taken care of, and like he did with me. And I've had zero issues with my vision since I had the surgery in July. And I just keep kicking myself and wishing I would have done it 10 years ago. So go to chewvision.com and set up your consultation. Tell them the John Krasinski Show sent you, and get on with your life. Make it easier on yourself, and just get to the point where you can kick your own self in the butt and say, why didn't I do this a long time ago?
All right, let's go to most underrated bands in history. This is our Booze and Blues segment, and LaVelle said he had a candidate.
We'll see. This may be rejected. But I was trying to establish criteria for this. They're not in a Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Okay. I still think they're a great band. I still think, even though they've been productive through the years and they're still playing, that they don't get the credit they deserve. This was another band that started in the 60s in California, the Bay Area. And they've been playing they're still performing. Next month, they'll be in the Netherlands. They'll be in Luxembourg. They'll be in Switzerland before coming back to play in California and Las Vegas. They're still busy as ever. Their calling card was, in a lot of bands that have, the vocals up front or the guitars up front, this group had the horn section up front, and they blasted, and they were choreographed, and they were entertaining. They've given us a lot. They've given us several hits through the years, and one of their songs, Don't Change Horses in the Middle of a Stream, is copied by bands and bars across America. I submit for an underrated band, the Tower of Power.
I love that. I love that call. I saw Tower of Power LaVelle at the Dakota here in town, and they just blew the roof off the place. I think that's a great call.
They've collaborated with everybody from Eric Clapton to Helen Reddy to Rod Stewart to Fish, Rocco's band, the Brothers Johnson. They've been all over the place. And I think in 2018, they did a 50 years of funk and R&B that you can go on YouTube and listen to. And the music just sounds as pure as it was when it was released. They're fantastic in my mind.
I love a good horn section. I always remember Jimi Hendrix was blown away by early Chicago back when Terry Kath was their lead guitarist. And he basically said, your horn section sounds like they play with the same breath, and your guitar player is better than I am. Now, I think he was overstating things, but Terry Kath was a great guitarist, and he's underrated because he played with a band that was known for a horn section, but he was phenomenal. So I love, one thing I love about Springsteen's tours these days is he's got just the best horn section you've ever heard. And Tower of Power is fantastic. So that's a great pick. Roy, you have any candidates you want to mention this week?
No, I'll say some. I've got a jazz group that one of these days I'm gonna hit you guys with. But in the interest of time and the quality of LaVelle's pick, I think I won't say anything today.
Okay. All right. Let's get a final baseball or other sports thought from each of the three gentlemen here today. I will start with my final thought, which is whenever the Twins struggle, I am reminded of how much of a regional sport baseball has become. Because when the Twins are good, I'm checking the standings. I'm looking at the other teams in the division. I'm looking at the other wild card contenders and division leaders, and I'm analyzing the way they're playing and what their roster looks like. And as soon as the Twins go in the tank, I lose interest in baseball. I just do. I just stop checking everything. When the Twins are bad, it makes me not care about baseball. And at this time of the year, when the Lynx and the Twins are really the only two Minnesota sports teams, professional sports teams playing, I just watch more women's basketball and I read more books. I don't know how it affects you guys. LaVelle, your final thought on anything you like?
Well, my final thought is that we're headed into a very interesting 2 to 3 week period here because I've been maintaining all along that the American League was so tight that so many teams could say they had a shot, that the trade buyers and sellers had not been clearly defined. Well, because of the struggles of the Twins are now 4.5 games out of the last wild card spot. And once you start drifting in that 5-game range, you got to think about going the other way. Now, Falvey met with the media a couple of days ago, and he said he's not even thinking about being a seller. And I would agree with him at this point. But these next 2 weeks are going to be massive in terms of where the Twins are going to be at and how it's going to should approach influence their thinking prior to the trade deadline. Because they got to put a stop to this and start climbing back up the stands, because they now have the 4th worst record in the American League, which is crazy, because I think there was a stretch there where they had with the 3rd best record in baseball when they were during that winning streak. So, this isn't the time to turn away from the Twins. This is a time to kind of watch and see which way this thing's going to go, because we'll have plenty of time to focus on Vikings training camp opening and forgetting about the Twins. I think these next 2 weeks are going to be very important for them.
What do you got, Roy?
Yeah, I think LaVelle's right about all of that, but it brings me back to what you said, Jim, about losing interest. And the one thing that I would say is, being a baseball fan and being a fan of great playing, there's lots of people to look up online, see how they did yesterday. And baseball's still just a tremendously watchable game when you've got. I mean, figure out a way. It's easy to find the Yankees, or the Mets and some of those guys that Aaron Judge. Easy to find the Dodgers. Watch Ohtani, watch Mookie Betts, but in some lesser known teams, I mean, try to there Tarek Skubal and watch him pitch, and try to find Scanes in Pittsburgh, and there are a lot of guys like that on the mound and in the field that are they just make you feel good when you watch their talent. And I don't know how the Twins are going to turn out, but baseball is alive and well with these young athletes.
Well said. Good stuff, gentlemen. Appreciate it. Hopefully the Twins will give us something a little more optimistic to talk about in the next week. Thanks to everyone who listens to TalkNorth.com. Again, the best way to listen to this show or any of our shows on the network, please subscribe to your favorite podcast app. If you can, patronize our sponsors. We do appreciate it. Work with a lot of local sponsors that are really good companies for the Minnesota economy, and they've been great to us. So from the Aquarius Home Services Studios, for Roy Smalley and LaVelle Neal, I'm Jim Souhan, and thanks for listening to TalkNorth.com.